Hi, I wanted to welcome you to the Divorce Planning Podcast. I'm Carri Goldring, and I'm in the mortgage business, and I do planning pre-divorce for people who are either going to refinance their home, do an equity buyout, or plan to purchase a new home and make sure that everything in the divorce decree is worded properly and the numbers in the planning is taken care of so that you can go through the underwriting process smoothly. And I would like to introduce you to other people who are interested in the divorce planning process so you can get a real education of what's involved. Hope you enjoy. Today I have with me Alisa Peskin-Shepherd, and I am so appreciative of you giving us time out of your day to talk, and we are going to talk about equal parenting time.
Hi, Carri. It's great to be here. I always love talking with you and appreciate and grateful for the opportunity to share my thoughts.
Oh, how fun. So tell us a little bit about you, and then if you can educate us on what equal parenting time means and then what that looks like.
Okay. Well, first, I'm a collaborative divorce attorney and insight mediator. I help families by helping a parent or an individual, a married person, transition from being married to not being married. And, I say I help families because I hope that the way that I help individuals make that transition is really benefiting the whole family, because I do take that approach where I'm thinking about how the family is affected, how the children are affected, even adult children. And those are things I talk about with my clients. So I feel my approach is might be a little bit different than some other family law attorneys who would come on your podcast. So
I agree with you.
Thank you. My practice is in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and I represent clients all over Southeast Michigan, sometimes even up to Washtenaw County. And I've been practicing family law for more than 30 years. So there have been a lot of changes over the 30 years, and I've changed my perspective, outlook, and how I practice over that time.
That's kind of interesting because I could see that, like, the more you know, the better you do, right?
Right. Or the better that we hope we're doing for our clients.
Right, which is good, which is nice to have someone with a lot of experience, because you have had all that time to grow and change and realize the impact that you're providing to families.
Yeah, and I would just hope that more family law attorneys would be in that mode, like of always learning how we can help families be in a better place when they're going through divorce. It's a fact of life. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And instead of being stuck in our same old ways, the same old way of doing things.
Right. And I think the industry is slowly changing.
Very slowly, very, very slowly.
So I'm lucky to surround myself by mostly people who think the way you think, which is good. So when someone says equal parenting time, what does that mean?
So that is a question that I will ask a client when they tell me that they want equal parenting time. I ask them, what does that mean to them? But taking a step back, in the legal context, equal parenting time means how much time, or how many overnights in Michigan, how many overnights each parent is spending with their children or child. So that's what they're looking at, how many overnights. And since we count how many days there are in a year, and so equal parenting time would mean that each parent has approximately 186 overnights. That just looks at the time. But when I'm asking my clients that question of what it means to them, I really want to know what they understand the responsibilities are beyond a number. It's more than 186.5 or however many it is, or 182.5 overnights.
Yeah, you really can get equal overnights, right? It just doesn't work.
Right. Right, but it's more than, it's beyond how many nights the child is sleeping in your house.
Okay.
And for parents to really understand this, when equal parenting time first became more of a trend, which is definitely a trend in our legal system, parents would just want those overnights. It affects how much child support a parent might have to pay. And that was really big factor for a lot of parents. They didn't want to have to pay child support to the other parent, even though it was for the benefit of the children. So they would ask for equal parenting time without really understanding what that might mean.
So if I had my kids and I picked them up a half hour before bedtime,
Mhm.
and then they woke up and I took them to school
Yep.
and I had them half time, I have equal parenting time?
Yes. And then what if your child was sick in the morning, or there was a call for some, that the child was sick at school and somebody needed to pick that child up? Whose responsibility is it?
The other spouse, of course, because I have to be at work, right?
Right. And that is the problem that we ran into most often when equal parenting time first started trending. But even beyond the number of overnights and what it means in terms of whose responsibility it is to pick that sick child up, I have been working on a case recently where the parents really are each very different in how they parent, and they have equal parenting time. But it occurred to me that many parents might think equal parenting time means equal parenting. So it's a different question.
Mm.
Equal parenting, what does equal parenting mean? So I realized that that was a different question to start exploring with my clients. Because when you're married, most people have a division of labor. One parent might might work more hours, and so the other parent is more in charge of the children, being available for the children after school, or scheduling them for activities or summer camp, doctor appointments,
Sure.
taking them to those appointments. So that's, I don't think, and I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's an unusual to see that? Even, I know when I was raising my kids, it was very much how we divided up responsibilities, even as working parents. I
Because
think I see
everybody
that a
can't
lot
do,
today, right?
right, because everybody can't do everything, and that doesn't make sense for a partnership, right? And that's what a good partnership does, sometimes even bad partnerships. You divide and conquer, right? So someone does the finances, someone does the cooking and the laundry, or someone does the grocery shopping and someone else picks the kids up from play dates or what have you. But then
Right.
you do bring up a really interesting thing, because one, you have time, but if you have the parent who's always used to doing the parenting and now you have equal time, so is it the assumption that the parent that always did all the parenting continues to do all the parenting?
Well, so that's different. Like, both parents are parenting. There are tasks involved with parenting also. So even separating out the tasks from the parenting. So yeah, so what we are talking about right now are the tasks involved with your children's finding out what activities they want to do or you want them in, scheduling their activities, making play dates for the children. Somebody else is going grocery shopping. Somebody else is, working longer hours. There are a lot of tasks involved, driving carpool, picking up after school, or childcare, making sure they get to school in the morning. That's all the division, but those are also tasks, right? And parenting even goes deeper. What are we each giving to our children? So there's the tasks involved. And then what are we giving to our children? Two parents give their children different things in their parenting styles. They're giving their children different things. So in a mom might be more nurturing, a dad might be more structured. And when you're married, you might get a balance, or one parent might not really love the way the other parent parents, but you tolerate it. You're married, you figure out how to work it out, or you don't and you get divorced. But that is not going to change. How a parent parents is not going to change after divorce. They're still going to give the child their values and what's most important to them. And it's when you have equal parenting time, my question was, do we have to be equal parents? Do we have to be equal in every other respect? Do we have to equally divide those tasks that are involved? And if we do, how do we do it? And do we have to parent the exact same way? If I believe that in my household you should eat whole foods and healthy and not have candy, but in their dad's house they can have chips and candy and hot dogs and whatever else they want to eat, does that mean he's a bad parent? No, it really doesn't, right? Because that's just in his household, that's what they believe. It's not my preference, but he's not neglecting the children. He's not abusing the children. He just has a different set of values. And maybe he's teaching them to save money better than I'm teaching them, right? Like I remember this example from my own experience when with my children after my divorce. Their dad would sit them down with the credit card bill and say, okay, this is what was spent this month. This is what you put on your credit card, and this is what you have to pay me back for. That was giving them a sense of what things cost, which was never my strong point when we were married. And I wasn't doing that with them after our divorce either. So, did that make me a bad parent? No, I was just different. And the thing I valued and how I showed my love and my parenting skills was just different.
Right.
So it's not so easy for, for me, and because I believe that I want parents to have control over the decisions that are being made, and I like staying out of court, not having a judge make a decision, not having your lawyer make a decision and tell you what it means. I'll ask my clients every aspect of parenting, equal parenting time. I'll ask them, what does that mean to you? And if one parent was doing all the tasks, the carpooling, the scheduling, making doctor's appointments, I can ask, is that something you want to do? Because if it is, we need to have that discussion with the other parent.
And I don't think most people ever ask that question. I think it's just parenting time, overnights, child support, end of story.
Right. Which is why we end up as family law attorneys in situations post judgment of divorce, after the divorce, with parents arguing about parenting time. Because they're arguing about parenting time, they're not arguing about the overnights, but they're saying, well, if you have these overnights, then you should be doing X, Y, Z, P, D, Q. So talking about those expectations before.
I always hear about homework. I can't have them at my ex's because then they won't get their homework done. Right. Or they come home and it's due the next day and they were 5 days over there and then I'm stuck with the homework.
Right. So maybe we need to have a conversation about it together, both parents together, before we get embroiled in an adversarial process, like litigation, like filing a motion to try to take parenting time away. What if the parents met with a mediator and the mediator was able to ask them these questions in front of each other? So I've done a lot of training in the insight approach to conflict resolution, which is why I call myself an insight mediator, so that I'm trained to be curious and ask these questions of parents to help them formulate the best, parenting time agreement with reasonable expectations for each other that would reduce post-judgment conflict or further conflict because their kids are 5 and 10 and they have 13 more years of co-parenting together, really longer, but let's just take first, until they're 18, of trying to manage their expectations of each other.
So smart.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that like doing this and getting the word out about the questions that parents can ask themselves, or if they can find a mediator or an attorney who can help them reflect on the meaning behind the words and the actions that are involved, people will be happier, families will be happier, we can reduce post-divorce conflict.
Right. And then hopefully the children will be happier because they have all their expectations laid out instead of you're going there for Easter and you're coming here for Christmas or whatever.
Right. And the children aren't caught in the middle of, like dad does things one way, mom does things another way, and, crying to dad about how mom does things, or mom crying to dad about how dad does things. The parents have already had that discussion that they know they do things differently, but that doesn't make it wrong or bad. And being able to say that to your son or daughter, to your child, I know mom does things a little bit differently, but, we recognize that too, but it's okay. There are just different ways of doing things. And it's a real good education for our children to understand that people are different, how people do things are different, even their parents.
Right. And it doesn't have to be. And I'm a child of divorce and grew up in 2 different households, and my parents definitely parented different. But from a child's perspective, like you just go with the flow, right? You don't question why decisions are made. Your brain doesn't work that way.
You don't question the decision, but if you like the way, one parent does something better than the other parent, because you do start to form those opinions, especially as you get in, 10, 11, 12 years old and older, that's where the conflict comes in because, oh, I don't want to go to mom's because she doesn't let me have ice cream for breakfast.
Right.
Okay, well,
right.
I personally think that every once in a while ice cream for breakfast is okay, but on a regular basis, probably not. But what I'm saying, it's like, what are they complaining about?
It's true. And I knew when I went to dad's house, it was dad's rules, and you go to mom's house and it was her rules, and just learn to be more flexible, I guess, as an adult, that you didn't even think is like the sidebar of.
Not just more flexible, but think about like your different kinds of teachers you had while you were going through school, or different kinds of bosses, or different co-workers.
Right. Or friends, parents, all that. You're right. Because it just makes you realize that you go to different places and different people. There's things you're going to like, and there's things that you aren't going to like in every situation. Right. And how you, it's good adult skills.
Right. And then focusing for parents who are in conflict, trying to focus on the value that each parent is bringing and giving to that child. So it doesn't have to be equal, doesn't mean the same, I guess is my bottom line. Equal parenting or equal parenting during your equal parenting time is not happening. Different households, it doesn't have to look the same.
Right. And I bet you have some parents that are really great with doing this, and you have other parents where one side's all for it and the other side makes things really difficult.
Right. It makes a difference, though, if you can have those conversations together or not. It makes a difference if your attorney has thought of these ideas that are beyond the amount of time or overnights you spend with your children, and have those conversations with their clients or not.
Right. So instead of poking the bear, you're trying to work on how to form your union.
Right. And I'm able, because of the way I work with my clients, that if they have concerns, let's see what language can we use in your parenting agreement or judgment of divorce that addresses those concerns, so you don't have to go back to court, or you don't have to be in a conflict and be angry with each other, which ultimately affects your children.
Right.
And try to make sure those provisions are in a judgment of divorce.
That's great. That's really awesome. That is not where I thought this conversation was going to go when I thought of parenting time.
Okay, well, I'm glad I gave you things to think about. I hope I give your listeners also things.
I think you will. I think you will. It was a really good piece of information that my brain didn't even go to, even though I know those things come up, but I never thought about the parenting time and how that can be changed, so to speak, to be more detailed.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad it's effective. I like having these kinds of productive conversations.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. If I have people who want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to find you?
So there's always to go to my website, which is transitionslegal.com, the name of my law firm, Transitions Legal. So that has all of our information. If people are listening and want to jot down a telephone number to call, it is 248-290-0560. And my email address is APS, my initials, at transitionslegal.com.
Easy enough. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Carrie. See you soon.
I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'm Carri Goldring, and if you ever have any questions regarding mortgage, feel free to give me a call or send me a text message, 248-420-4524. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.